Good morning. Hope things are going well. Of course, this morning we're hitting some technical difficulties. My Stream Deck isn't showing up right now. My iPod wouldn't, or my new iPad is not connecting to Bluetooth on my Hand Pro 2. And I'm getting some weird like buzz and hum. Let me know if you can hear that buzz and hum that happens. I have no idea why it's happening. Might even be because my iPad, I'm trying to hook up to my iPad. No, I don't know which cable's which. That should be the right one. Get a good seat. Fair enough. Let me finish getting set up here since I couldn't get set up at the beginning. Good morning, David. There we go. Now we're getting set up right. No, I didn't have any questions today about really anything, so if you got questions about Obsidian or whatever, let me know. It doesn't look like I'll be able to stream from my iPad today. It appears that it was probably the issue with my iPad is stealing my audio source. Seeing like a weird buzz hum thing. There you go. Now my audio source is back. So today's plan is to cover daily notes in Obsidian. Some of my favorite fiction of 2021 so far. And then Things 3 update. I'm going to start by talking about some task management with Obsidian. So what are you all using for task management? I actually use Things 3 as my task manager. And then I use Obsidian for a few things, but we'll talk about that, exactly what that is. What do you use? Hey, Tenny. How's it going? Actually gonna open my notes on my iPad. Not that I can share my iPad today because it seems to be having trouble. Note plan 3, Todoist, Apple reminders. Tenny, you have no audio? Other people are getting audio, so I don't know what to say. Maybe I was just being quiet at the time. Actually, I lied. I'm not going to talk about task management today. That's for next Friday. I'm going to talk about daily notes from the course. I can show you though, because you hear what I do. This will be like an advance for next week. I got a few boards. I can start with this one, my writing board. Right, I have ideas, what I'm working on, what actually has the date on it, what I need to record. So that's today, writing, favorite fiction, things, Markdown update. And then what I need to publish. So after I'm done recording today, I'll drop these over in the publish. These are all just things to publish right there. The other stuff I have is like nothing is an emergent here. This is like my someday maybe list. To fix some elastics in a tent, purchase tent pegs, security cameras, barbecue covers, solar lights, and some Obsidian stuff that I need to do. It's not really a topic today, even though I kind of made a mistake and thought it was. That's for next week. Then we're going to talk about how I use daily notes. I actually have my notes for that on my iPad, which I can't share today because I don't know why. It's just not sharing. Because I could pull out the old iPad. And so the new iPad is not, I don't know why. It sounds like it was creating like a, would have called it like a ground loop. If I was in my old audio days. Which I'm not, so. Yeah, that's what my Obsidian compound board is, like changes I need to make to my vault. Going through and doing like note organization, stuff like that. Or things I want to investigate, like assigning new keyboard commands, stuff like that. That's not like a video, so I have stuff for videos under my writing board. Let's maybe look into the long form plugin for writing a book, something like that. How does it compare to Scrivener? With the odd mosquito in my house, which is annoying. So. But let's start looking at my day with my daily notes. All right, as usual, a couple seconds silence, then we'll start digging in. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about daily notes in Obsidian. We're going to talk about specifically how I use it. Just so that gives you some ideas about what you may use it for as well. Before we do that, there's a few things you can do to support the channel. Number one is take one of my courses. You'll find the link to all those below. You might be interested in the Getting Started with Zettelkasten course, or watch my upcoming course on Getting Started with Obsidian, because it's pretty much ready to start recording now. It should be out in the next couple weeks. Other things is you can like, subscribe, all that other YouTube stuff. Smash the like button. But let's talk about daily notes in Obsidian. So this is my daily note. This is where I start things. This is what I do. Usually, so I'm going to just kind of fake this because I don't want my work meeting notes to show up here. But what we would do is if I had a meeting today at 10 o'clock, I would have this with any notes to talk about, so that I had that information for my meeting so that I could, in the future come up with it. You can see there's dots over here for like 16. So actually I already meeting notes for my next Monday. I have meeting notes for the 30th already that I need to follow up on, probably even like that Wednesday. There's things in the future that I already know I want to talk about at some point in the future, and so I've logged them for the future. I find this really useful when it's time to talk to my boss with my one-on-one on Mondays, and sometimes there's something on like a Tuesday that's got me really annoyed, and I put it in on Monday. When I come to Monday, I'm like, yeah, it's not that big a deal actually, so just don't worry about it. So just don't worry about it. So this is how I would come in and start a day, and I'd have a time log here, but what I really do is I would actually blank this all out like that, and then I'd use Day Planner. And I'd add a Day Planner template for today to the current note, like that. And then I would start, so I have 0600 Scream, and my next thing is 08 breakfast. So I'm going to have I know that I'm gonna have lunch, and then I'm gonna be done by what, 1500, and is a keyword for it. Now, I know there's times in here, so let's pretend this 10 o'clock meeting actually happens. So I go 10 meeting, and then I would actually transfer any notes talk about. And in fact, Day Planner lets you do headings too, so I could actually still have my 100 meeting heading there. That's kind of how my day would look. I'd actually pull out my things 3, and I'd look at it, and I actually would usually drag this off to a second screen I have so that I can actually see them both. I know I need to add Tom to the web password sheet so he can print it and delete it, so that might be something I do at, right? No, Tom. Because we are now using 1Password, but we haven't always, so predating me. I need to do Friday wrap up and my Markdown Friday wrap up, which is, for my company that I work for. So I might schedule that for 1500 Friday wrap up. And then I do Markdown wrap up. Just so I have them both time blocked on my schedule. I actually have a course or I've written a book on time blocking as well. So you can check that out as well from my site. I've written about that a few times. I love time blocking. And then I'd look through and I need to check with Katrina about help tags and get a bug herd receipt. So I might even do that kind of in my 9 o'clock time slot, 9 to 10. So bug herd receipt, Katrina, re-tags. And then I have my day kind of planned out. You can see it over here in the day planner, right? I can see that I'm streaming, I'm doing breakfast, I'm getting Tom the web password sheet. I have a fake meeting at 10 o'clock, which doesn't actually exist clearly. I have lunch. And then I have the Friday wrap-up time. I give myself, it says 2 hours here, but I probably would give myself, probably need about half an hour for that. So that might even get pushed back to later in the day, more like 14:30 would be more likely. And then in theory, I've got this huge long lunch block, which doesn't really happen. So I might even go in here and say 14:00 and just question mark. I don't know what I'm going to use that exactly for yet. Use that to check on any emergency tasks at work or something like that, just to make sure that my weekend is wrapped up well. And then I can delete this fake 10 o'clock meeting because I don't need it. So next up, if I have a meeting and I have meeting notes, I will just take them kind of inside the meeting here. So any notes, action items, an action item would usually get a task kind of indication with this checkbox. So this would be my action item, and then I would actually move that off to things 3 or to Rike, depending on where the best place that is. I find Rike isn't great at reminding of things to do things on a certain day. Necessarily, the scheduling features are all around project management, so they'll like adjust other people's dates and other people's features. And I don't want to do that. So sometimes they'll go out into things 3, sometimes they'll go out into Rike, just depending on what it makes the most sense to, where it makes most sense to put them. That's really it. That's how I use daily notes in Obsidian with the Day Planner plugin as I try to catch a mosquito that goes by. Did I catch it? Oh, I did, but it got away too. So that's really how I use it every day, all the time. I use the daily note kind of as a daily running log, so I will also use it in the middle of a day. So if I had like a task, a Rike task for this, and I was doing it at say 9, we'll adjust this later, 09:15, work on Rike task, and then I would in fact even put in a link to task here, just so that I have a kind of a running look at what I'm doing through the day all the time, and I can go back to fill in my timesheets later in the day, just so that I have them around. That's it. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell. YouTube will let you know what happened. But honestly, keep your notifications off because you probably should. You got other things to do. Other ways to support the channel, take one of my courses on Skillshare. You can go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare. Become a member. I get some money for that, and then you can actually still find direct links to my courses below. You're probably most interested in the one on Zettelkasten. Getting started with Zettelkasten. That's it. Have a good day. Try to behave yourself. Just realized right now that I forgot to say when I started this, so it ends at, what does it end at? It ended at 15:24. I'll just have to find the start. Martin. So Martin, I actually have reading glasses around that I wear very occasionally because I do have a bit of, I can't see very close sometimes, that's what they tell me, but my reading glasses are so weak that the place I went to get glasses to like get my eyes tested declined to sell me glasses. They were like, you don't need glasses, you just need really inexpensive like 0.25 reading glasses. I wear them sometimes. Not super often, but sometimes. Next up, favorite fiction. That'll be my Amazon device. Let's open up Safari. And I want to find Zon.com. I'll take a bunch of links down. Still got that mosquito hanging around. Don't think I got it, but you know. Also just can't hang out forever. Ooh, $324 in hardcover. Still think it's worth it. It's a good series. US. Alex, okay. 1 second and we'll look at that. I didn't get daily notes for a while either, to be honest. Just didn't get it. There you go, salvation sequence. And oh, daily notes. Alex says, perhaps for later discussion, I'm struggling with the concept of daily notes in an app like Craft. They get lost and don't resurface. I'm not sure how to use daily notes. So they don't resurface. That is the thing. So let me just make sure yesterday's okay. Yeah, that's fine. So this is yesterday's daily note. I had a 8:30 stand up. I didn't actually really use the day planner because I just didn't that day. And so my daily note was part for keeping like the 8:30 stand-up meeting to pass some information between departments, to ask what's up with Font Awesome for web projects, because it just seems to be having issues all the time, to inform the team that this web password sheet is going to go away because we shouldn't be storing our passwords in an Excel sheet. Ask who is Tony the Tiger, which is actually Anthony that I work for. And just kind of recording kind of what I was doing for part of the day. Clearly I kind of dropped off at 9:55. because I just did. So do they need to resurface? No, I don't think so. Not for me. Now, I do know lots of people will like put in stuff, say, for today. Like, oh, I catch the mosquito that time? I did catch it that time, so that mosquito's dead now. Right, they might put in here like at whatever time. 11:00 red. I'm just gonna link to some article. Footprints, right? And I actually take that notes for this book. This is about the fossils we'll leave, the trace fossils we'll leave going into the future. So, and they'll actually take their notes for this book right here in this list, and then they will, or this article right in this list, and then they will, it's all in their daily notes. Rome is a lot like that. I don't do that. If I was going to take notes on footprints, I'd actually go to my footprints file and start taking notes in the file right here. But some people like daily notes for that. As with many things, I'm going to say, if you don't get daily notes, then don't use them. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it at all. Just thinking. GTM. Just remember another task I have to do today. Stephanie about Google Tag Manager. So just don't worry about it if you don't get daily notes. I would use craft the same way, right? Going for today's note. Yeah, so Richard here says, I've set myself a rule that I never link into a daily note from other notes. If the daily note contains useful ideas, they should become a standalone note in their own right, which I can link to. Absolutely, that's exactly what I think. Well, actually, I have a meeting at 10. I do have a meeting at 10:30 today. So usually I actually pull out my calendar, so I have to go in here and say 10:30 about read. So I might actually go in here and tag. Do I have read rise in here? I do. So I would tag this in there just so I could get back to my meeting notes, but that's it. So I can create a new daily note. With this, I could actually just drag in and have like my meeting notes in here for craft. Right, and come in and take all of my meeting notes in there, whatever I needed to have. And then in theory, if there's a task or something I need to do in the future, then I'd push it forward there. Like I'd push it into, again, what is it? I'd push it into things 3 or into Reich or something like that. If there's actually like a task in here, right? Then I'd say task, and I'd push that off to where it should actually be as an action item. Yeah, that's really it. I don't think I'd use it any different in craft. Here you go, James uses daily notes in craft for quick to-do tasks and links to meeting notes. Yes. So I actually have a workspace. What? So as workspace is not turned on. It's not turned on. Why was it not turned on? I had some sync issues when I started up my new iPad, like my plugin specifically. I didn't lose any data. Load workspace, random note workspace. This actually looks at path and notes or path tags or worked on this last time, or path books. So it's looking in just some of my folders here, right? Books. What's the other one? Notes and tags. Those are like the main ones where I might have a note surface, and then I can hit the random note, and it will actually just look through and find things that are important. So I feel like that's probably in the wrong spot. The intellectual life, that'd be a book. And so I might actually do some sorting on some of these things and like find the book and tag it properly because there are notes in here that aren't tagged. Right, filter bubbles. So I might even say, okay, filter bubble actually need to to summarize what a filter bubble is. So, and because I have daily notes in their daily section, then I can actually exclude them here. So this is another creative license. I'd actually go back through and kind of adjust it to my current book note format and take out some of these headings that I don't need, just as like sorting, and then I'd make more connections as I wanted to as well. So my writing workspace takes me here. Okay, favorite fiction. I've got that on the other screen, so I don't need it here. I should grab, because I actually have one set of these books under my big pile. 1 second. So I actually have these comics here. So my favorite fiction of 2021. All right. As per usual, let's say when this is going to start first. This is going to start at 27 minutes. There you go. Let's do some silence and let's start digging into some of my favorite fiction of 2021 so far. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about my favorite fiction of 2021 so far. I don't talk a ton about fiction books, but I have been asked more than once to start doing that. So this was a good week to start. So before we get going, a couple ways to support the channel. You can take one of my courses on Skillshare. You can find the links to those directly below. You might be interested in my Getting Started with Zettelkasten course, which is going to talk about how I do book notes. Other than that, like, subscribe, all those things. But let's dig into my favorite fiction of 2021 so far. All right, so let's start with Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, which honestly was absolutely hilarious. Probably my favorite part of this, the part that will make you think or get an idea of it, is when they find this old guy with a rabbit head on pooping in the toilet. It centers around an apartment open house and someone who kind of tries to rob a bank, and then just this. It's hilarious, and how the whole community rallies around one person, and it was so funny. It was great. If the thought of like an 80-year-old man pooping on a toilet is a good thing, is something that's funny, that you might enjoy reading about how that actually happens. There you go. This is a good book. Next up, Stand Still, Stay Silent, which is a webcomic. So you can actually read all of these for free on the web if you want, but you can also, they just kind of finished their Kickstarter a while ago, get these gorgeous, these are hardcover tomes, they call them, with it actually written out. So now the comic is currently past tome 3, Stand Still, Stay Silent, tome 3, but you just get like gorgeous art in here. I'm trying to find like a really good page. Here's a good one. Yeah, gorgeous art. It's kind of after the world has, had a virus come through. Kind of poignant at this point, and it's in like, where is it? Like Sweden area. So that's where all the characters are from. Different countries out there, and the art is just gorgeous. Really good series. After reading it, in the books recently, and then going back to reading it, every one or two panels a week, 1 or 2 pages a week online, I really actually miss getting to just read and flip through the whole thing. So I will buy book tome 4 when it comes out as well. Next up, Pathfinder Trilogy. I do enjoy Orson Scott Card. I've read lots of his books, and the Pathfinder Trilogy is the most recent one that I've finished. It follows Rig Sekemekis, and his sister and one of his friends actually, and takes Rig from like a backcountry woods boy who's been trained by who he thought was his father, into traveling backwards and forwards in time and space, duplicating himself, fighting aliens that destroy the planet of Garden and destroy the planet of Earth, and figuring all that out. And there's just a lot of stuff in the middle too. Really good book. I've listened to Pathfinder a bunch of times, the first book in the series, and I hadn't listened to the other ones until just this summer. And they are excellent. Excellent, excellent. Next up, Salvation Sequence. It's a 3-book series thus far by Peter F. Hamilton, who is, compared to some writers I really follow right now, a slow writer, right? You think of Rick Brown, and he writes so fast. He writes like 3-4 books a year. And good books, but Peter F. Hamilton just takes a while. So, Salvation novel, again, this is like a humans dealing with aliens series, which I enjoy. Really well written, good twists at the end, especially of the first book, and like I find myself very much involved. Just sort of a time hopping back and forth idea, where they're like telling you some of the backstory while they're telling you some of what is the future or current story. So, finally, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I've actually read his children's books as well. He's got like A Boy Called Christmas, I think. So basically How Santa Claus Started, and a bunch of other great books like that. But The Midnight Library is an interesting one. Idea where you die and you're in like a holding space. And for this person, it's a library. And they get an opportunity to like pull different books off the shelf while they're not dead, and try out new lives. Like what if they made a different decision? What if they were popular? What if they weren't popular? What if they, like, everything that happened, they really get to try it out. And it was an intriguing concept. It was actually really good. I picked it up on Kindle because I couldn't find it locally, and then I found it locally like the day I finished it on Kindle, and I bought a copy of it as well. So I've not read my physical handheld copy, but it is a great, great book. And that's the fiction that's really stuck out to me so far. You'll find links to all that below in the description. So yeah, grab those if you're interested. If you've seen some interesting fiction that you thought was good, please let me know in the comments. I would always love more books to read, despite my stacks of books around that I haven't read yet. Always like more books to read. That's it. If you like the video, thumbs up below, subscribe, hit the bell. Otherwise, you can take some of my courses to support the channel. Find links to those directly below. We stream Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific, which is 2200 at Japanese Standard Time. And there's also a Discord if you want to talk about books, talk about whatever. Have an excellent day. 3302. All right, comments. Martin, to be honest, I gave up on card after Speaker for the Dead. Why? So Speaker, the first 3 I really like. I think you can read Speaker for the Dead before you read Ender's Game, and that's fine. But you need to, what's the next one after that? After Speaker for the Dead. Oh, get those books off. I've read most of the series in that. That's a good one. I've read most of them. Speaker for the Dead. Xenocide, Children of the Mind. Yeah, so like those ones I think they're all good. Xenocide. I think that's I think those first 4 especially are really good. Really, really good. All right, from Ender's Game, where he destroys the buggers, to Speaker for the Dead, where there's the piggies, and Xenocide is also the piggies, and Children of the Mind is kind of the return of some of these other things. So that's giving it away. I own it. I own a Kindle copy of it, and I've listened to them as well. So I'm got my eyes out for original hardcover copies. But you're gonna run me like $100 a book, which is totally fine. I also enjoyed his Alvin Maker series. All right. Alvin Maker. This one, very good series. It's like a What If Magic Was Real alternate U.S. history. And what else did I like from him? There's a bunch that I've enjoyed from him. Ender's Game is good. Yeah, I don't think I've read The Last Shadow. Children of the Mind is good. I've read some of these other ones that are later on, like Hegemon. They're pretty good. Actually, audiobook. Shadow Puppets I think I've done, but it's been a while. Earth Awakens, good. I've got that. What else do I have? There's a bunch of them I have, though. He's written a lot of books. Pathfinder I just talked about. Visitors is part of that. What else? Oh, there's another one I've done. The Worthing Saga, that's a great one as well. It is sort of... You can feel some of the same motives between the Worthing Saga and the Pathfinder series. But they're different. They're good. Yeah, I think I'd read most of it. There's very few that I haven't, like Earthborn series, good. I've read all of these. I have them all in audiobook, and I've got a couple in hardcover. Yeah. I've never done the Mither Mages. There's a bunch that I think are really good in there. So I think I would just recommend Orson Scott Card in general. Since I'm looking at this, let's do it quickly now. Just grab all my affiliate links for the books. Rather than coming back later. The Midnight Library link. Salvation Sequence. Pathfinder, I need to budget for that probably $400 Canadian series. To buy that on Amazon.com. Stand Still, Stay Silent. You can actually buy some of the books currently if you want to buy them. If you read the webcomic and decide you like it, there are places to still buy outside of Kickstarter for these books. They're good. They are good books. There we go. Do that. Yeah, see, I think there's older school sci-fi. What did I just read? I was trying to read C.S. Lewis' Space Trilogy, which is old school sci-fi. That was like 7-page exposition on of some magical being saying they're God. I was like, just so slow, so boring. So that's done. All right. Things 3 update. It's going to be a bonus one. It's going to be a bonus update. All right, bonus video. Because I normally wouldn't. I just wouldn't, but I wanted to cover this because I thought it was an interesting one. This is going to start around 39 minutes. And I have not read Peter Watts. It's Peter Watts. Do you have a specific one you recommend from Peter Watts? Another one I really like is the Hugh Howey. Is Hugh Howey? I like the Wood series and Wayward Pines series. Or Wool series and Wayward Pines series. Hugh Howey writes one of them. I'm not sure if he writes both, but... Blindsight is the one you recommend, eh? you go, in my inbox. I will look at that from the Book End, which is my local used bookstore. It's just around the corner. I need to do again my books in, books out list, because that stack is huge, and there's a stack beside that stack of books, and there's books on my desk too. So I need to do that at some point, though not today. Kind of was going to be today, and then I don't know, probably, who knows, maybe I'll just need to sort it and I'll record an extra video this weekend and it'll come out sometime in the future. So for now, let's do the, I should readjust my time then, because I didn't. So now I've talked for another 2 minutes. 41. Things 3, the Pi update, I heard someone call it. So it's 3.14. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about my favorite task manager, Things 3. And it recently did an update that will have the Markdown enthusiasts like very excited. Those who need notes in your tasks very excited, because they support Markdown better now. Before we dive into that, ways you can support the channel, take one of my courses. You can find those below. curtismchale.ca/Skillshare will take you to Skillshare, where you can again look up Curtis McHale, find some of my courses. Yeah, I got one on Tick in there. I'm gonna do one on Things 3 eventually. I've got one on getting started with Zettelkasten. Be another good one to take. That's it. Let's dig into what Things 3 has to offer with this 3.14, the Pi update. So the big thing they've done in 3.14 is add some Markdown support. So you can put in headings, you can put in, right, heading. Now you notice it doesn't actually do like different sizes of headings like you'd find in Obsidian. But it lets you do a highlight or italics as well with a single asterisk, bold with double. It does some, you can tell a little bit, it has some italics there, has some bold there. It lets you do code fencing, right, with just one backtick to do a code reference, or code fencing with 3 backticks. It does not do like formatting. So with PHP there, in some formats, some places it will let you, it'll actually color code the code in here to be, you know, appropriate for that code. It doesn't let you do that. It'll let you do links, although I'm not sure why I would do that, since I can just say, like, have a link and just click the link and the name. It doesn't actually do any fancy formatting of it, although it does recognize, right, when I do a link, if I say link, like, it actually does kind of recognize that these are special characters, right? You can see how they changed to gray when I turned it into a link. Lists, another big thing you might like. Bulleted list, numbered list, links with indentation, and an extra Q for some reason. That's another interesting one I haven't seen covered, is it actually does task list as well. So, and marks them as resolved, kind of, right? You can see it changes color as you go through. So you could have a, this is in addition to like a checklist, an actual checklist in a task. So, it also does, you know, some minor formatting for a block quote, right? And actually changes that symbol, the block quote symbol, to a gray, to recognize it as a formatting character. So if you take notes in your task, this is a good thing. It also does Shift Command F to search. Oh, I have that tied to something else, don't I? On mine, I have that tied to this thing, quit. Now I can search and write, I can search bulleted, and it'll actually highlight that for me. So if you're, say, sending an email from Spark or something like that and have a bunch of text, you can actually highlight it. That would be something, right? Highlight the pertinent information inside the email, and then you could search for stuff inside your email as well. Some of the others things they've updated in 3.14 is sync. So instead of doing like full syncs like they used to, they now do like partial syncs, just what you've changed. That's going to keep your sync fast. Overall, I think it's a cool update for Things 3. We haven't seen a lot of major updates. They tied these keyboard commands or functions over into the iPad and the iPhone version as well, if you use those. Specifically on the iPad, Things 3 is like absolutely stellar. It has full keyboard support. I think it still has, even after like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, it still is like the gold standard for keyboard support for A task manager for sure, but for almost any app. Craft is pretty good as well. Craft is probably just as good. But task managers on iPad are they're just not as good, unless they're Craft. That's it. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell. YouTube will let you know something happened. Other ways to support the channel, take one of my courses on Skillshare. You can go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare, and I get some affiliate fees for that. Or you can find direct links to my courses below. Yeah, look at the one on time blocking. Have an excellent day. 45:58. All right, people got questions. I'd love to answer them. If you've got questions about anything, blind sight from the bookman, that actually really needs to go into my books on order. That's really where this goes. There you go. That task is resolved because I will now order it at some point when I go into the bookman. I will open up my books on order note and order a book or two off the top. That's what I do. Any other questions about anything, really? Bikes even. Hey, you want to talk about bikes? I can talk about bikes. What I should do is maybe go into... Just going to open it up and make sure I don't have any personal receipts in first. Martin, you say Blindside is one of the most clever books with regard to developing aliens I've ever read. Have you read, not Artemis, not The Martian. I think it was one by Andy Weir. Oh, I forget what it's called now. Now I gotta look it up. Hail Mary. You read Hail Mary? That was pretty good. I still think The Martian was the better. Artemis, not a book for me. I read it and thought, this is lame. This is lame. So, but Hail Mary, good. Hail Mary I thought was pretty good. Not as good as The Martian, but still good. Worthy fiction. Just also making sure I don't have any more receipts. I do not. I super can't wait for yeah, The Martian was really good. I actually read The Martian once and then started reading it like immediately again. I was like, this was so good, I need to read this again. So I did. No, how do we close this other sidebar again? There we go. Let's go through some of the stuff I gotta take notes on long term. Or articles I want to read. Yeah, it's really good. One of the reasons I can't wait for the next version of macOS is that I want shortcuts on my Mac. So I'm going to be reading this article now about copy URL. Database stuff in WordPress. That's, you know, my job. Yeah, I mean, were you here, Richard, last week when I went through and did a bunch of like different links of stuff? I went through and looked at, oh, what was it? I don't remember. I just did a bunch of random notes and did it. I also found recently, just reading The Color of Law, and what did I come up with in here? So I did stuff like defining the difference between de jure and de facto laws, which I have to read, to be honest, again, to really know. I looked at, what was the one? Public housing. Like, I did some summaries of stuff in here, right? Knowing that racism in law against African Americans also has stuff to do with yellow peril, which is like Chinese people are terrible. Came out of World War II. Looked up Reconstruction, red shirts, interracial marriage. But what did I actually start to summarize? I find my random notes help me make more connections between things when I do some random note work. Yeah, so I did like, I'll look at block busting tactics. This is a tag note. This is a tag note, actually. So in this book, I kept finding, like, and doing summaries of stuff, like really looking into, I need to summarize that, actually. I should put in here. The Color of Law is incidentally our book for book club. I finished it last night, 2 nights ago, but we still have a little bit of time, so if you want to read that one, go for it. All right, so I found churches would preach about the terrible sexual blackmail. So when they didn't want black people to move into a neighborhood, they'd basically say that, you know, the white girls were going to be in jeopardy. This is something that I also connected back to Boys and Sex, which I read quite a while ago. Because black men have this, like, just like Chinese Asian men have this, like, a trope of them being unsexual, not fulfilling beings. Black men have this, like, virile, we're going to, you know, we're barely suppressed sexual energy. And so black teenagers actually have to be very careful about how they participate in, especially with white women, any type of sexual behavior. So I made that connection via my reading, right? I looked at, what else did I look at? I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff. So yes, I find that I continue to make interesting links, and I find that going through random notes, which I set up with a search in a workspace, and the Smart Random Note plugin, just helped me find interesting stuff. Martin, how do I find the Obsidian app on mobile? I'm not a huge fan of the Android app, and I find I rarely use it. I use it all the time on my iPad. Most of these notes were taken on my iPad for The Color of Law. I use it a bit on the iPhone. I find the iPhone, there's just so much going on that it's hard. It's just a lot of tapping around to use. So, but I still, like, I read on Friday night while my daughter was swimming at swimming lessons. I was reading The Color of Law, and I made a bunch of notes about The Color of Law, that book, from my phone. Sitting in a lawn chair beside the pool, watching her swim at swim club. So, I like it. The other thing I need to do, which I haven't found yet, Richard, is actually go through my tag notes. Right, go into here. This is always slow on stream, but to find my blue tag notes, and in theory, which I've done and talked about in my video, like, I want to find the tag notes that have, I know community has a lot already, but I want to find them that as they get bigger and as they get more links to them, I want to find a way to surface them. Right? Find a way to surface what is a tag note so that I can write about it. And realistically, like, it's a writing idea, but it's actually really now, I would not count something as a writing idea, I'd count it as a tag note. That's what I'd count it as now. So, and as these get more and more links to them, right, then I would really dig into it. This is Out of the Second Mountain After the Most Controlled Childhood Ever. Ever the speeches we give kids upon graduation are all about freedom and going your own way and doing whatever you want. And 2 points there where you hear about survivorship bias, right? Those who survivor, that's what we hear about, and we're never giving these kids any chance to control stuff for themselves. They like parents take them to like everything. Other sources, late bloomers, mostly around the idea that failure is bad and means you're not on the fast track anymore, and so we like don't ever want to see failure. Right here, specific link: failure threatens wonder kid self-image. You were awesome around the porcelain dolls. As soon as you hit any type of bad thing, then you everything's terrible. And kids these days, I didn't remember what, but also free range kids would go into here as well. That'd be another one that went into here. Freedom after the most controlled childhood ever. Free range kids is more like let them be free. So yeah, I find lots more connections as I go. Let's read this WordPress thing. Don't think I'm going to take any notes on it, or I don't know if I'm going to take any notes, so I won't create a note for it yet. Database merging is hard in WordPress. The big thing about database merging in WordPress is that changes happen in both environments, and how do you merge the changes? Right. This is syncing right now. Usually you just have to decide that you're just going to overwrite something. I've done a bunch of stuff like, there used to be like a Git thing that would let you merge database. It just never worked. So. It might be the most used one for memes for sure. I'm not sure why going back on that went back to a totally different thing I wasn't looking at. Weird. So they used to have a product called MergeBot, which I was excited about, but they ended up folding because it just wasn't going to work. So I was only in beta ever. Delicious Brains, the company I'm reading at, they do WP Migrate DB Pro, which just migrates an entire database. Stellar plugin. There we go. If you got questions about Obsidian, let me know what they are or whatever. I'm reading about database merges. I'm talking about building a custom plugin now. PHP to deploy changes. Check for versions and like deploy data. Yeah, so they use PHP to write custom database queries to insert. Now I've used this plugin, it just didn't. I used this plugin, it worked okay. WP merge. No, it doesn't hit a conflict resolution. So we don't have a solution yet. That's what it comes down to. All right, automating iOS shortcuts. Something I try to do on Friday. I haven't actually done a great job lately of going through my read it later list. That's what this really is. This is my read it later service. Might be interesting for me, but tweeting articles at least. I've actually been thinking lately as a developer, like, why don't I do more componentized shortcuts so that I can call in and out of multiple shortcuts that do like a small piece of something? Which is what he's doing here. As always, you got other questions, interesting stuff, let me know about it. Love to answer more questions if you have them. This is interesting. Using cron to like regularly run real scripts. I should use this to tweet the latest article for my site. A couple times a week. Once a day, once a day. Okay, that's interesting. So what could I use that for? Copy. Does N otter RSS as well? Good day, Joanne. If you got questions, let me know. Just kind of reading articles. No one has questions, so I'm catching up on my Instapaper queue and checking out this interesting blog. Going full iPad game dev workflow, but I never talked about iPad stuff in general. What could I use this cron job shortcut for, though? Could use it for tweeting article at daily. What else do I need it for? To fan my daughter's medication. Still interested in multiple Kanban boards. I answered that in my stream last week. Hang on a second. I'll talk about it again. What else could I use this for? Something I need to do regularly. Or I want to do regularly that I have to deal with. 3. Okay, common boards. Actually going to address task management with Obsidian next week on my Friday stream. Like, just talk through like how I use it, what I use it for, stuff like that. They haven't asked me to write lately, Dan or Derek, so no, but yes. And if they ask me to, sure. I have been really busy, so I just haven't pitched anything either. Okay, so what do I use my comment boards for? I have a few. It's the camping one. Most of this is my someday maybe lists, right? I'm going to someday maybe go fix the elastics in my MSR tent. I did some research on it. I did some videos, and I need to purchase the elastic. That's what I need to do. That's the next step. Just purchase it, then I need to go do the job. So it's kind of a someday maybe list. This will graduate up to things 3 when it becomes a real project, when I'm going to go purchase it. Wax a zipper on a tent, same thing. First aid kit supplies needed, so just stuff I should purchase for our first aid kits before I go camping next time. Purchase more tent pegs. So yeah, same with home. There's some just like someday maybe get a new barbecue cover. It's not like emergent, but I should. I have been looking a bit at security cameras, even though I haven't done research on them. I looked at Ring and a few others, but I just don't like the privacy implications of a lot of them, so I haven't done it. Yeah, I need to get security solar lights for the back, and I actually really need to hang the kid's hammock. First thing I really need to do for that is, it's actually a project, isn't it? This is what I should be doing better. Should be coming in here, making a new project, hammock chair, and then I need to go in there and say purchase hook at Home Depot. Find it. Chair. I'm actually probably going to need to purchase some I'll probably need some chain, and I'll probably need some I just probably need all that stuff to do it. And I should really schedule a project. That's interesting. So I could. Yeah, let's schedule for today. Should take my bike out later, or maybe the car, and grab the hook and the chain and the quick link, and I just gotta hang it this weekend. So then we go into personal, and now I should just go in here and say it's done, because it's no longer like a thing. Yeah, that's what I use them for, or for an Obsidian, just like things that I want to kind of deal with in my database at some point. Assign keys for folding headings, assign keys for swapping lines, in Outliner plugin. Kind of pulled. I'm not going to do that because I don't really do it anymore. Not going to care about that either because I don't do that. And then I've been sorting notes, so just going through just kind of what letter I left off at for sorting notes. That's it. And then I use my Kanban board for writing, which I've showed. I'll talk about this next week specifically. But like each column, right? Ideas, working, scheduled, record, publish, done. That will actually become like a video. You can see I've done it here. Right? So like I've actually written this already. And then next week I'm also covering fiction I own in multiple formats, which is the Expanse series, Gunslinger, Stormlight Archive, Wheel of Time, and the Wool Saga. Because they're all good. You know what, I can add to that too. And there's game and the associated properties like, oh, what is it? Of course I'm forgetting. Speaker for the Dead. I really like the idea of a Speaker for the Dead. If you have read that book, I really like that idea for my eventual death, which will happen. So that's what I use this for in a daily note. Actually, I streamed this earlier, Joanne, like what I do for a daily note in tasks as well. So like, it's just like bug heard receipt, Katrina retags, Stephanie about GTM, Google Tag Manager, and I've actually like scheduled these things out in my day so that I know when they happen. So that's how I use it. And I have one for like writing for work too. It's just like a standard content calendar. That's what I do. So realistically, I should really take a note on this. So what is this called? This is called I can hear my children up. I'm sure my wife's not up yet. Who's this guy again? It's at the bottom. Tag, this is shortcuts. It's mainly so I can find it later. Copy URL. Don't really want that campaign stuff in there. And then copy item link. So now I can find it anywhere in DevonThink from any device I'm on. My notes. This is really just a summary in this case. I didn't take notes during it. There you go. Send DMCA takedown notice. What do you send those for? What do you send those for? Just because? This is a note. You know what I should do? Copy Obsidian URL and I put it in things. Should do that. email making professors stupid. This is by Mr. Cal Newport. And you guys probably want to know what this is too, so let's send this off. If you want to read it. That's right, this is, what's his name, Donald? After saying I wouldn't buy the new Cal book, it came up with a 99 Kindle. Ha! I read a World Study email. I reviewed it a while ago. I think Deep Work, Digital Minimalism were the better ones. But actually, I think So Good They Can't Ignore You. I think I got more out of those, but that's also because I've read a lot more in these veins now. So, like, stupid thing. Oh, you've got to pay for this stuff? Ugh. Hear my daughter scampering around lots. And not. I wonder if I can use... Yep, I can. Perfect. Let's delete this one. So I just use the Devon Think Markdown cut free to bypass the You got to sign up thing. Jeez, professor spends 60 hours a week working. Most other stuff I've read say if you spend 60 hours a week working after 8 weeks, you might as well spend 40. 30% of their time is dedicated to email and meetings. I actually try to block out my entire Fridays for like focused work away from everything. Well, I do promise I'll check in at the end of the day to make sure there's no like explosions. Because most of my job is like deep thinking about things. Now the problem with it, Richard Feynman's thing where he just gets to say no and be a jerk is that most often advantages men and disadvantages women, because women are less likely to say no and they're more likely to pay a penalty if they do. Whereas men, they're like, oh, men are just being assertive. And it also rewards those that are happy to be jerks or not non-conforming to society's expectations of the things you'll take on. Yeah, a better way to say you must take on, or you are expected to take on 5 hours a week of this admin stuff. That's it. Do it. Yeah, and then knowing how much time it actually takes is important too, right? If it's, you look at it and say, that's so crazy, I can't believe you'd spend that much time being the faculty chair or doing anything, then why are we spending time on it then? What am I going to say in here? I can probably wrap it up after this. We're not getting any questions today, so I'm not going to dive into more stuff. Email, shadow work is already tagged in there. Tenure is tagged in there. And the personal computer, Richard Feynman, Donald Knuth. Any other tag? Ooh, excuse me. I don't think so. Note. You do want that sometimes, Martin. But does administrative tasks really disengage your brain, or does it actually just distract your brain? Would disengaging your brain be better used as a walk? So I think Mr. Newport would say to that. Because you feel like you get dopamine reward from answering those emails, you get dopamine reward from, and stress from not answering them, from the expectation. You get people outside saying, hey, why didn't you answer these emails? Why didn't you get back to this fast enough? Whereas if you just didn't have to do them, would going for a walk be better? Or if you're like so spent that I just need to do something that shuts my brain off, boy, we should be just done working for the day. Like, who says 8 hours? That's another thing Cal Newport says in some of his books. Like, who says 8 hours is really like the time that you have to focus in the day? I find that 5-6 hours of hard focus is all I got, and that's all I make myself do. That's all I tell my team to do, because there's always little things that have come up that really mean like 5-6 hours takes 8. of good, hard, focused work. I expect my team to focus hard and then to go do what they want to do. I'm far more concerned with my team working too much than too little. And we have seen, since I started, productivity increase. We're producing more stuff, better stuff. We are doing better on accessibility and site speed and launching a whole bunch of sites and handling far more things by saying no to a lot more, by saying no to, just things. So now, and we even try to shift that. So right now, one of my direct reports is working on a site, and so he doesn't have to do a lot of other things. I keep telling him not to, and I keep taking stuff because he wants to anyways. And I say, no, focus on that job that you're supposed to do, and I'll do more of that. And once, eventually we'll have our junior developer doing something similar, learning how to build a site, and she will have more time to focus and less menial tasks, right? I'll take off, or Anthony and I will take some of her menial tasks off. So, update this site, update that. We'll actually steal some of them from her during that time because she will be working on a major project. I think, if you really just have to shut your mind off, then maybe you shouldn't be doing anything anymore. You should just be done for the day. So, and sometimes that means he doesn't work for us anymore, but he was like, he missed a meeting because the baby was up all night and he slept in for a couple hours, and he had only slept 4 or 5 hours, and that was with the sleeping in. I was like, dude, I'd rather have 2 good hours out of you than 8 crappy ones, whatever. And so that was just when the baby was up all night, he was just the baby was up. I'm taking I'm sleeping for a couple hours. So I'm working a little bit and then I'm going to go nap. I'm like, well, it's fine. Go do it. I would far rather have 3 good hours than 8 bad ones. That's what I think on that. Martin, I should put that down as a writing prompt. I'm going to put that. I got that in there twice. Making professor stupid. It's probably not even that one. What is the backlink on that note over there? Here goes email making professors stupid. That's the one I want to link to. Delete. Good. Yeah, you're right. For a lot of people, no email is not feasible at all. I do it. So I check Rike and email, which so Rike will be notifications. at like 11:30 as I'm about to leave. And then I'll schedule any time in the afternoon that I need to do it, and then kind of about the end of my day. So lunchtime, like I start work pretty early, so often lunchtime is actually 9 o'clock for me because I've already had some breakfast. So I will kind of schedule it in those days, those times, and I ignore most other messages. Like I don't get text messages. I don't need any of these things, so I don't get them. All right, that's it for my day, at least for streaming. Breakfast. Kids are already up. I'm pretty sure the wife's not up. She's got to be somewhere in an hour anyways. Then wake her up. Make sure the kids haven't destroyed too much, because I'm sure there's been some of that happening. And that's it. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for coming. Thanks for asking some questions and the interaction. My Obsidian course is getting close to being done, really. I need to go back over it and decide. I think I've got all of my basic, like my beginner and intermediate videos all written, and I just need to decide. I think I will probably launch the advanced stuff, and then I will probably launch my own membership site coming up, which is why I do not mention Patreon anymore. And then I will launch my own membership site coming up with a coupon for all the patrons. So if patrons are watching this now, you'll get a coupon for the membership site. To get a bunch of, to start out for free for a while. And then I will, get back to other courses. So I got a few others I want to work on doing. I'll port all my courses from Skillshare into my membership site. Any members will get all of that, plus any of the books I've written that I can pull out of the history, so freelancing books, time blocking books, analog productivity books. Those will all come back out too for any members. And I would like to do a paid newsletter. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. So paid newsletter will probably be 2 tiers. Paid newsletter will be for some people, and then if you want all my courses, everything else, you'll pay a little bit more per month, and you'll get all the courses and the paid newsletter and all the books and everything like that. So that's it. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out for this long, and try to behave yourselves today. Ciao.